The advantage of reading the Gospels in a year is to get an accurate picture of who Jesus is, and sometimes he surprises us with his words. In our reading that we saw this week, he's very straightforward with the people of these cities. Matthew chapter 11, verse 20 says that Jesus began to denounce the cities in which most of his miracles were done because they did not repent. Woe to you, Chorazin! Woe to you, Bethsaida! For if the miracles had occurred in Tyre and Sidon, which occurred in you, they'd have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. Nevertheless, I say to you, it will be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon in the day of judgment than for you. And you, Capernaum, will not be exalted to heaven, will you? You'll descend to Hades. For if the miracles had occurred in Sodom, which occurred in you, it would have remained to this day. Nevertheless, I say to you that it will be more tolerable for the land of Sodom in the day of judgment than for you. Now, as discouraging as these words may sound, I think they're actually encouragement to us, because they tell us that even at the miracles of Jesus, some people don't repent. Some people don't change their minds. And so it's encouraging for us that sometimes, no matter the message you bring, no matter how hard you serve, no matter how diligently you pursue good things, some people don't respond to it. And that's okay. It's your job to be obedient in the work. But if they rejected even Christ himself while he was doing miracles, don't expect them to always listen to your words or receive the love in the way in which you intended it. He reminded us earlier in chapter 10, you also read this week, Jesus says, the disciple's not above his teacher, slave's not above his master. It is enough for the disciple that he become like his teacher and the slave like his master. And if they have called the head of the household Beelzebub, how much more will they malign the members of his household? If they rejected Christ, we can expect, in some cases, to be rejected ourselves. But the words that follow that reading in chapter 11 are also an encouragement to us. Jesus prays and says, I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you've hidden these things from the wise and intelligent and have revealed them to infants. Yes, Father, for this way was well-pleasing in your sight. All things have been handed over to me by my Father, and no one knows the Son except the Father. Nor does anyone know the Father except the Son, and anyone to whom the Son wills to reveal him. Come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you'll find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. A surprising change there from Jesus in judgment to Jesus declaring himself to be humble and gentle. Did you catch that phrase in there where Christ says that no one knows God except the Son, and those to whom the Son wills to reveal him? And so some might read this and say, well, God just doesn't choose to reveal himself to everyone. But we see in context that God is revealing himself even to sinners in this city that were worse than the sinners of Sodom. So what is he saying here when he says he reveals himself to some or reveals himself to those whom he wills? I think the point is this. We're surprised by those to whom Jesus reveals himself because they're not who we expect. They're not the intelligent, as it says. It's not the upper class. It's not the so-called leaders of religious movements. It's those who are tired. It's the weary. It's the heavy laden. It's those in need of rest. Be encouraged by the words of Christ and keep reading.